You stole more than money. You stole my years. You broke my trust. And now it's time you hear the truth. The entire courtroom came to a standstill. The familiar sounds, the rustling of jackets, the soft clicking of a reporter's pen erased themselves. The only sound remaining was Janelle Brown's voice, coarse and full of emotion, ringing out as she stood her ground in front of the judge. She wasn't speaking for herself alone. She was speaking for every woman who had remained quiet for too many years. Janelle was erect at the plaintiff's table, hands shaking not with fear, but with a fierce determination. Her stance was firm, her breath steady. After almost 30 years, this was her time. On the other side of the room, Cody Brown rigidly sat, the once assured father of a large polygamous clan, now a shadow of his former self. His jaw was clenched, arms crossed firmly, grasping for the last shreds of his diminished control. His eyes, previously aglow with life, were now dark and inscrutable. By his side, Robin Brown, his legally married wife, fought for composure, lips clamped tight, face concealed behind oversized sunglasses that hid the tempest behind them. The judge, a poised silver-haired woman of about 60, nodded once and spoke to Janelle. "Miss Brown, you may proceed." Janelle breathed deeply, her own voice calm as she said, "This isn't about a damaged marriage. It's not about jealousy or ratings on the cameras. This is about justice. About betrayal. I stuck by Cody Brown through all adversity, poverty, childbirth, emotional upset. I mothered 6 children, nursed his others, invested in our ventures. I sacrificed my ambitions, my autonomy, my own financial security." Her voice trembled for a moment, but she had control of it again. "I didn't construct a family, I constructed an empire. An empire which he now wishes to call his own. And when I finally found the strength to leave, I was left with an RV and a broken heart." Gasps were whispered through the crowd. Reporters, the audience of the polygamous family soap opera, even a few former pals, all sat in stunned silence, waiting for the normally reserved wife to finally unleash. Off to the side, Janelle's attorney, Lisa Carmichael, a keen woman in a blue business suit, nodded subtly in admiration. Janelle went on, "Your Honor, I am not here for revenge. I am here to make him accountable, to demonstrate to the court and the world what he has done. Above all, I want my daughters to learn that silence is not strength. Walking away is not weakness. Speaking the truth is power." Cody shifted awkwardly, muttering under his breath to his lawyer, but Janelle's words dominated the room with unassailable power. He constructed a framework in which love was conditional, funds were secreted, asking him questions was treason. There was only one special wife, the one who had all the money, the real estate, the luxuries. The others of us? We were instructed to suffer, smile in front of the lenses, and be good wives. A ripple of whispers coursed through the courtroom, shock and compassion blending in the atmosphere. Cody's attorney stood abruptly. "Objection, Your Honor. This is a personal attack, not legal argument." The judge held up her hand, stopping him. "Overruled. This is opening testimony. Continue." Janelle's glare focused on Cody as she continued. "When I inquired why Robin was given a 5-bedroom home, and I was given an RV, he told me, 'You chose that life.' But what I chose was trust, commitment, and what I received was financial devastation." She faced the judge again. "This lawsuit isn't about our spiritual marriage. It's about what he did with our shared money. It's about justice. This is not about a broken vow. It's about the investments I made, the businesses I assisted in building, and the land I was promised only to be left out in the cold. It's about $385,000 secretly deposited into hidden accounts without my knowledge. It's about an extended, agonizing history of manipulation that left me with nothing, while he protected Robin from all responsibility." Robin bristled at that moment. She had always been the passive one, the dutiful wife who never questioned anything or protested. But now her name was dragged into court documents, bank statements, and public eye like never before. The judge looked over her glasses, reading her notes intently. "Miss Brown, How long were you in financial contact with Mr. Brown? Janelle replied immediately, since 1993. All business decisions, all investments, official or not, were taken as a family. We were told we were one economic entity. But actually, everything was gradually transferred into Robin's name. Janelle's attorney presented her with a fat binder labeled Exhibit A, packed with wire transfers, emails, and bank statements. As Janelle read through the pages, her voice lowered. I didn't believe it at first. I thought I was hallucinating. But when I began investigating, insisting on access, I discovered I had been locked out entirely. No legal rights. No assets. Not even an interest in the land at Coyote Pass that I helped acquire. The judge raised his eyebrows in surprise. So you funded the land but don't have ownership? Was there a contract to secure you? No, Your Honor, Janelle said. We were never legally married, but spiritually married. Everything we did was under the agreement that it belonged to the whole family. The courtroom descended into a second oppressive silence. Janelle softly closed the binder. I trusted him with my life and gave my money to Robin. Robin looked up at that moment, but it was only to look at Cody with her red, shining eyes, and she said nothing. Cody's jaw folded tightly. Janelle took a final steady breath. Your Honor, I'm not here to destroy him. I'm here to reclaim what's rightfully mine. This isn't a divorce case. This is a decades-long battle of power, money, and betrayal. The judge nodded slowly and shifted her gaze toward the defense. Counsel, are your opening statements ready? Cody's attorney rose, visibly shaken. But everyone in the courtroom sensed it. Something had changed. Janelle Brown was no longer a passive, relegated wife. She was a tempest about to unleash itself. The air was charged, heavy with anticipation. Following Janelle's impassioned testimony, the courtroom waited on tenterhooks. The judge had temporarily adjourned to consider the evidence presented. Now, the entire courtroom watched the stack of binders set out as Exhibit A, financial fraud. When the gavel came down once again, it was obvious. This was well more than a family feud. This was a case of deception, secret money, and betrayal of the utmost sort. Cody Brown stood accused of setting up secret accounts years earlier, accounts hidden from the very women who had trusted him most. Janelle's lawyer, Lisa Carmichael, walked forward confidently. Her tone was steady but biting. Your Honor, this case is not so much about analyzing a marriage. It is about revealing a conscious, willful plan to divert family money. My client, Miss Janelle Brown, possesses proof that Mr. Brown transferred more than $385,000 from joint family accounts into an account controlled exclusively by Robin Brown, without notice, with no permission, with no explanation. Gasps filled the courtroom once again. Cody's face turned red, though he remained motionless, attempting to conceal his response. Robin's hands jerked nervously in her lap, her sunglasses still concealing her eyes within the courtroom. Lisa went on. For almost 30 years, Janelle worked alongside her co-wives, contributing equally to the Brown family finances. She ran businesses, starred on TLC programs, and assisted in expanding family-branded enterprises. Janelle and her co-wives thought they were all splitting the family's income evenly for years. They ran businesses, sold goods, and even got TV time, always assuming money was being combined for the best. The judge nodded, indicating Lisa could go on. Lisa held up a sheet. Exhibit A1, the shared bank account transaction history of the family between 2016 and 2022. Abruptly, a huge screen behind her came to life, displaying an elaborate spreadsheet. Row after row indicated huge amounts, $45, 000 there, $75,000 here, being transferred back and forth into a different account under R. Brown in another branch of Flagstaff. These transfers occurred systematically, Lisa went on, and were loosely captioned as personal reassignments. The judge furrowed his brow. Were these monies available to Miss Brown? Lisa shook her head decisively. Not at all. When Janelle inquired as to the finances of the family back in 2021, she was refused outright. Brown's actual words, in a text message, were, It's none of your business, Janelle. Trust me. A gasp filled the courtroom. Disbelieving whispers passed back and forth as many glanced at each other in shock at the betrayal. Lisa moved on to present the slide. Exhibit A2, a memo from the business manager of the family. It states, at Cody's request, send all streaming revenue to the R. Brown account until Robin's mortgage is paid. Janelle's expression turned sour. She had been informed that she could not afford to build a house or move out of the trailer park in which she was stuck, while Cody was secretly sending Robin money. Lisa moved forward intently. Your Honor, this is not just an oversight. This is economic isolation, conscious economic management intended to leave Janelle powerless. The judge tapped her pen nervously on the legal pad. Is there evidence that the other wives, Christine and Mary, were aware of these transfers? Lisa nodded. Christine was denied access too, as her written statement attests. Mary got some money, but only after she asked for it via Cody, the only gatekeeper. Robin, however, had sole and direct control over the main family account. The screen changed to Exhibit A3, a confirmation of deposit into Robin Brown's trust account, just 4 months prior to Robin purchasing her $900,000 Flagstaff house. Lisa directed her fingers straight at the judge. This transfer was just weeks after Janelle requested to use her portion of the family money to purchase a small home, and was informed by Cody that it wasn't financially possible. The judge addressed Cody. Brown, do you have anything to say? Cody stood up slowly, his attorney at his side. Your Honor, he spoke quickly. This was not about manipulation. I was defending the future of the family. I didn't want the money frittered away by being put too thinly. The judge raised an eyebrow. So you decided on one hand to grasp it, all for Robin's sake? Cody hesitated. Robin was the sole wife lawfully married to me, the sole one I trusted with property, legal papers, and taxes. Lisa replied promptly. So spiritual wives have the duties of legal ones, but none of the privileges? No, that is not what I meant, Cody stumbled. The judge held up her hand to interrupt the dispute. Brown, answer simply. Did you discuss moving joint funds into an account that would be controlled by Robin with Miss Brown? Cody paused before acknowledging no. Janelle took a deep breath. Tears were a long time past. She had nothing left to cry. Lisa continued. Your Honor, this was not a one-time mistake. It was decades of economic gaslighting. Janelle was subjected to feeling irresponsible and selfish, blamed for questioning, and ultimately disowned from the family fortune she helped create. Numerous people blamed Janelle for ingratitude, but the reality was much tougher. She was being progressively cut out. She looked at Cody and said, You told me to live in an RV since there was no money, yet your wife lived luxuriously on wheels. Robin trod on marble floors. Cody's jaw fell, but nothing was said. There was silence in the courtroom. Lisa, the attorney for Janelle, cut to the chase. My client is not requesting favors. She's demanding her share, her interest in the fortune she helped create. This is not about polygamy. This is about power and a man who abused it. The judge stopped, absorbing it all, then shut her folder. We'll take a lunch break. When we come back, we will hear from Miss Christine Brown. As the judge departed, the room hummed with expectation. Janelle sat unmoving, gaze ahead, determined. In the hallway, reporters were already typing away, penning headlines. Cody Brown pours $385,000 into Robin's name. Sister Wives courtroom drama boils over. But Janelle wasn't reading the headlines. For years, she had waited for that one straightforward question. Where did the money go? And now the world was finally going to hear the answer. When the trial resumed, lights appeared blinding, the air dense, but mood had changed. Janelle sat quietly assured. Her previous testimony, supported by concrete economic facts, had made allowance for little disbelief. Whispers became a low buzz as the crowd chattered, reporters typed furiously, and Sister Wives enthusiasts posted information in real time. Then, the back door to the courtroom creaked open. Christine Brown entered. Heads turned. Cameras clicked. Cody even winced. Christine glided slowly but steadily down the aisle. She wore a charcoal blouse, plain but classy, and had pulled back her blonde hair neatly. There was a cool, intense focus in her eyes, something no one had ever seen when she had still been married to Cody. This wasn't Christine, the ex-wife. This was Christine, the witness. The bailiff summoned her to the witness stand. She raised her right hand, promising to tell the truth. Cody's face contorted. Guilt? Fear? Or the realization of the foundation had been standing on finally crumbling. Christine sat, hands in her lap, her eyes locked forward, never once looking Cody in the eyes. Lisa moved closer. Miss Brown, are you able to describe your experience with the family finances during the time that you were married to Mr. Brown? Christine didn't flinch. I was married to Cody for over 25 years, spiritually, not lawfully. We had 6 children. During that period, I was informed that all TV money, business money, book money, everything was shared equally between the wives. Lisa nodded. And was that the case? Christina's lips compressed into a line. Not even remotely. There were a few gasps around the room, one even from a TLC producer in the gallery. Christine went on. At first, Cody promised everything was fine, that he had the money in hand. We believed him. But then, something changed. She hesitated, then continued. When Robin became part of the family, it was like a switch was thrown. Suddenly, the rest of us were being asked to give up, but Robin was being upgraded. Lisa leaned forward. How do you mean upgrades? Christine nodded. When we relocated to Flagstaff, Robin had a new home purchased in her name. At the same time, Janelle was relegated to living in an RV. I was merely renting a place. Mary was on her own. All discussions about finances seemed to loop back to one stark reality. Cody always put Robin's interests first. Lisa clicked the remote, and a fresh document flashed on the screen, a mortgage contract, signed by Cody and Robin alone. Christine leaned forward. Janelle asked if she could borrow some money from family to purchase a small house. Cody denied, said it didn't matter, then went and co-signed Robin's mortgage. Cody suddenly burst out of his seat. That's not right. You don't know the entire thing. The judge slammed the gavel down. Brown, sit down or you'll be held in contempt. You'll get your turn. Cody sat back, fuming, but Christine never flinched. I do know the entire tale, she said softly, because I experienced it. I watched Janelle quietly struggle. She wasn't drama. She wasn't crazy. She was stuck. Every time she had a question about the money, you silenced her, poked fun at her, told her to trust you as you gave it all to Robin. Lisa paused, then asked, to your knowledge, did Janelle have access to any of the family's legal documents or financial accounts? No, Christine replied decidedly. She wasn't included on any house deeds, bank accounts, or even the title to the Coyote Pass property. And she worked incessantly, selling family products, taping the show, arranging holidays, and still, she received nothing. The judge looked visibly upset. Lisa gave Christine copies of text messages between Janelle and Cody. In them, Janelle continuously asked for the use of the family account, with only to get cold responses such as, "You're not legally entitled to it, and it's complicated. Robin and I are taking care of it." Christine shook her head as she read the messages. This was typical control. He kept the funds in Robin's pocket so that he could say it wasn't his responsibility. The judge leaned forward. Do you think Mr. Brown purposefully excluded the other wives financially? Yes, Christine replied promptly. And beyond that, he made us think it was good for us. We were spiritual wives, not lawful. He said the law would not cover us. But now I realize it was a loophole he employed to cover himself, not us. Robin bent her head, crying. Lisa asked a final question. Why did you agree to testify today? Christine addressed Janelle, saying, because she never quit trying to shield this family, even when they didn't shelter her. Because I remained silent for too long, believing what Cody told me. And because I want my daughters to learn that silence isn't the solution. Janelle's eyes brimmed with tears. So did the judges. The courtroom went quiet, stunned by the gravity of Christina's words. The judge finally spoke after an eternity of silence. Miss Brown, thank you. Your testimony will help us all understand the situation here. Christine walked back to her chair, head held high. Cody did not look angry anymore. He looked vulnerable for the first time. This courtroom was no longer dominated by angry ex-wives. It was dominated by women who were determined, unafraid, and strong and wanted their voices heard. As Christine walked by Janelle on her return, the two shared a silent nod, a connection greater than any religious promise Cody had preached. Outside the court, the headlines were already bursting. Christine stands up to Cody. Janelle exposed and empowered. Cody accused of manipulating wives with money and threats. Sister wives demand justice. But it was never about glory. It was about finally telling the truth. The power in the court had changed. It was no longer in Cody Brown's voice, his presence, or his charm. No, the power was now in the hands of those women who had once stood behind him and now stood firmly against him. The testimony of Christine had shaken the whole room. Janelle had put on. Now was the time for Cody to respond. When Janelle had given irrefutable financial proof, now was finally the time for him to talk, to explain, to regain control. But everyone deep down knew he had already lost it. Brown, the judge directed firmly, you may proceed to the stand. Cody stood slowly, every step towards the witness box feeling progressively heavier. He adjusted his collar, glanced briefly at Robin, and then refused to make eye contact with the rest of the room, particularly with Janelle and Christine. Having been sworn in, Cody sat up straight, hands clasped in front of him. His lawyer, a well-dressed man in a charcoal suit, moved forward to the microphone. Mr. Brown, can you assist the court in understanding your perspective? Why were some financial choices made the way they were? Cody nodded and breathed a measured breath. I know I've made mistakes, he started, his own voice surprisingly gentle. But I've always attempted to manage this family with rule and justice. Perhaps I didn't deal with every problem to perfection, but I never meant to cause anyone harm. He glanced intently at the judge. Your Honor, I had 4 wives, 18 children, and no instruction book. We were not your average family. I made tough choices. His lawyer interrupted, so you weren't intentionally leaving Miss Brown out? Not at all, Cody responded hastily. I was merely attempting to stay organized. When Robin and I got legally married, it made sense that some assets should be in her name for tax, credit, and convenience purposes. Lisa, Janelle's attorney, rose. Can I cross-examine? Granted, the judge said. Lisa moved forward, speaking in a polite but steely tone. Brown, you're telling us this was leadership and structure. But what's this text message? She held aloft a large printout of what Cody had said. I can't give you access to the accounts. That's not your lane. Cody stiffened. I was under a lot of stress. Lisa didn't blink. Let's discuss lanes. You had a wife, Janelle, who sold family-named products, assisted in the production of your TV show, took care of 6 of your children, and coordinated real estate transitions. And when she requested transparency about money, you sent her away. Is that leadership? Cody squirmed in his seat. She was constantly second-guessing me. It wore me out. Lisa held a pause, allowing the courtroom to take in that. Second-guessing or championing? She queried. He remained silent. Brown, she went on, did you ever explain to Janelle how the income from TLC was split between the wives? No. Did you ever provide her with legal access to the family accounts? No. Did you co-sign a mortgage for Robin with communal funds after withholding the opportunity for Janelle to purchase her own home? Cody paused. Yes, thank you. No explanation necessary. Hushed comments ran through the courtroom. Cody's defense was unraveling point by point. Lisa wasn't finished. Let's talk about Coyote Pass. Did Janelle financially contribute to that property? Yes. Is her name on the deed? No. Lisa nodded her head. So, she invested in a dream she was never legally included in. Did she really understand what she was getting into? Lisa questioned. Or did she believe in a man who said he would take care of her? Cody slumped back, his confidence clearly waning. Lisa stood before the judge. Your Honor, this was not leadership. It was selective loyalty. Cody Brown stood up for one wife and left the other wives behind. He used legal marriage as a shield and emotional manipulation as a weapon. The judge nodded gravely. Brown, would you care to respond? Cody leaned in, his voice more constricted. Listen, I did try to keep it all together. I tried to call the right people, but it was impossible to make everyone happy. Robin never had trouble with me. She stuck with me, so yes, I trusted her more. I gave her more. His words escaped him before he could retract them. The courtroom was utterly silent. Lisa furrowed an eyebrow and leaned closer. Because she was compliant, you rewarded her monetarily, Lisa retorted. You didn't say it, but you just acknowledged it. Janelle's eyes fell, lips compressed. Christine shook her head in subdued incredulity. The judge took off her glasses, eyes piercing. Brown, in your own words, you acknowledge your choices were guided by emotional allegiance, not equity. That is the very essence of this case. Cody attempted to rebound. This wasn't abuse. It was leadership. The judge looked him straight in the eye. No, Mr. Brown. That's not leadership. That's favoritism, financial manipulation in disguise as patriarchal authority. She rose and pulled down a thick file from the shelf and read aloud part of Christina's previous deposition. Cody controlled everything from housing to holidays to affection. If we questioned him, we were punished emotionally, financially, spiritually. Cody sat in stunned silence. Lisa continued. So when Miss Brown requested access to the account she assisted in paying for, when she requested ownership of a home she assisted in purchasing, when she requested independence, your leadership said, no. Sit down. Stay in your place. The courtroom was quiet. Even Robin remained quiet. The judge shifted back to Cody. Brown, today you have drawn a clear picture, a hierarchy founded on favoritism, disguised as duty. This is not about polygamy. It's about a deep power imbalance. And this court acknowledges the harm that imbalance has wrought. Janelle breathed slowly, her gaze riveted on Cody. Decades of listening to him excuse cruelty as righteousness, silence as wisdom, everything came crashing down. Today, there were no sermons, no nodding wives, but a cold courtroom and the unforgiving truth closing in. As the judge adjourned for final consideration, the silence was enormous, heavy, and permanent. Janelle sat at the table for the plaintiff, loosely laced hands, her eyes peaceful but fierce beneath. 3 decades of hurt, second-class citizenship, and unspoken power had ended here. At the other side of the room, Cody rigidly sat, jaw locked, lips pinched shut. Robin beside him shivered, wiping at tear-stained cheeks. Christine joined the gallery once more, standing quietly among Janelle's supporters, solidarity in silent revolt. The judge came back, file in hand, her voice firm but adamant. After considering all testimony, financial records, and paperwork, I am prepared to render the ruling in Brown versus Brown. Janelle blinked once, not in prayer, but calming herself with deliberate breaths. This case, the judge said, is not merely about money. It is about trust. It is about power and the misuse of both. Gasps filled the courtroom. Even reporters were shocked. The judge went on, coolly. The plaintiff, Miss Janelle Brown, has established she made financial, emotional, and logistical contributions to the Brown family for almost 3 decades. She did so under false promises of mutual gain and co-ownership. Speaking directly to Cody, she stated, the defendant, Mr. Cody Brown, practiced a systematic pattern of economic favoritism, excluding Miss Brown from access to common assets, money sent into accounts she could not touch, and manipulating his position to dictate whether and when financial information was divulged. The room went silent, thick and unbroken. On behalf of the plaintiff, Miss Janelle Brown, the judge stated, this court directs Mr. Brown to pay $415,000. The judge's voice boomed, pronouncing the sentence, Mr. Brown is commanded to pay restitution, both Miss Brown's contributions and punitive damages for economic coercion. Additionally, Miss Brown will be awarded a 30% interest in the Coyote Pass property, as documented in her investment. The gavel came crashing down, sounding like the steady drumbeat of justice. Janelle Brown had triumphed. Tears filled her eyes, but they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of liberation, relief, and the long-awaited confirmation of her voice. In the corner of the room, Cody sat stunned, no longer furious, but emptied. For the first time, his words were in deaf ears. Robin took his hand, looking for solace, but Cody didn't react. Slowly, Janelle came to her feet. Christine, from the gallery, advanced and hugged her. Whispered cheers rippled quietly through the courtroom. But Janelle did not yet go. She turned to Cody, her voice calm and unshaken. "I'm free now," she proclaimed. "For years, I kept quiet to maintain the illusion of family, even when I was in pain, even when you took away every shred of my independence. But I'm finished keeping quiet." Cody looked up but didn't speak. "You said I should keep to my lane," Janelle went on, her voice increasing in volume. "Well, this is my lane now. And from now on, I walk it alone, proud, independent, and finished with lies." She stopped and then raised her voice just loud enough to be heard distinctly. "You can't shut me up anymore, Cody. Not in this courtroom, not in life, not in front of our children. They're watching. The world is watching. And now everyone knows who you really are." The courtroom was so silent you could hear Robin whispering softly through her tears. Janelle's heels clicked crisply on the marble floor, every step a thunderous farewell. Not just to Cody, but to the part of her that used to settle for crumbs and get away with calling it love. In the courthouse lobby, reporters surrounded her, cameras firing, microphones shoved into her face. "Miss Brown, what are your thoughts regarding the verdict? Was it about money or something more? What do you have to say to other women in similar situations?" Janelle took a pause, smiled, not for the cameras, but at herself, and replied simply, "This wasn't about revenge. It was about recognition. About showing my daughters and every woman that you can leave and you can win." Christine walked forward, putting her hand in Janelle's. Standing there, united, they met the cameras not as sister wives, but as warriors, friends, survivors. Inside the courthouse, however, Cody waited alone. No cameras. No wives. No words. His empire had fallen.